I'm legally insane, and limited run games is trying to bankrupt me again. This is not the first time this has happened. I mean, they've been trying to bankrupt me for years, but now they've actually succeeded. And I made a video about this many months ago, and I told you this was coming. And they're not just trying to bankrupt me, they're trying to bankrupt you. All of you out there, all the game collectors out there, all the retro game fanatics, retro game collectors, and the die-hard retro game lovers, they are trying to bankrupt us. That is their goal. That's the whole reason they exist. And but they've never succeeded. They never figured out how to do it until just recently. And I made a video about this before. I told you it was coming when they invented what is called the carbon engine. It is their technology. They own this technology. Nobody else in the world has it except for them. And it is technology that somebody invented that allows them to basically perfectly port over old retro games. So it is a development tool that allows legacy content to be ported to modern platforms. It uses emulation, but it allows them to do additional things to that content. They can change the audio, for example. They can swap out the soundtracks. They can add new features. They can add new user interfaces. So they can change the menu system. They can change the UI. They can add trophies. They can add these accomplishments that you can get. They can add in interviews. They can add little things here or there. They're not reprogramming the game itself. They're just adding interesting little new features. So the Tomba game that they got coming out, they're adding in a bunch of special features, and also they're adding in a secondary soundtrack, and they can do that. So you can switch between the original soundtrack and have a brand new soundtrack, and they're hiring brand new composers to do that. So what happened here is they brought out a 37-minute video describing and listing the next 30 games that they got coming out, some of which they've already announced and others were brand new announcements. Many of them are carbon engine based games. And they don't even need to release carbon engine games. They've already been releasing some of the best games ever made. Like, they are the top publisher right now. They are the top dogs. Nobody else can beat these guys because they get those quirky games and those little hidden gem games, and all the publishers love them because they do one print run. They don't have to worry, are we overprinting? Are we going to lose money? They just do this giant pre-order, and then guess what? They screw you over later, because if they so choose to, they can re-release the game again later, and they'll publish it under a different name if they so choose to. They can do that. A lot of times they don't, but the point is they can do that. They can screw you. Some of these other limited, quote, limited run types of publishers, that sometimes happens, like Super Rare Games with Dangerous Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, whatever it was called. They re-released that one. Sometimes these games get re-released. It's just the way it is. So of the 30 games that they've announced, I went through the whole list, and I tried to take out games that I can live without. And I came up with a list of 23 that are 100% must-buys. 23 out of 30. And if I add in some honorable mentions, there's 3 additional ones that I would like to have, leaving me with 26 out of 30 games. That's going to bankrupt me. And this is just the beginning. So this is the whole point of this video. They're announcing, this is just the start. There's going to be hundreds to thousands of these old retro games coming and getting ported over. And I know what you're thinking immediately. You're thinking, well, I don't need to buy the port. I got Tomba on PS1. Well, so do I, buddy. I got Tomba right over there, right behind me, Tomba. I paid a lot of money for that. It's like $200 PS1. And I ain't selling it. I'm keeping it. Original hardware. Sony PlayStation. But people like myself are going to double dip. And you might be thinking right now, you're thinking, well, I'm not going to double dip. Well, yes, you are going to double dip. You're going to cave one way or another, buddy. You're going to cave eventually. Especially if some of these limited run game prints end up becoming rare and sought after games. Like this is they're you got to remember they're adding features here. So in some cases, yeah, you might sell your originals. Hell, I did that with Alien what was it? Alien Isolation? Yeah, I did that with Alien Isolation. So when they ported that over to the Switch, I had the 360 version. As soon as the announcement was made, I put my copy on eBay. I don't care for that 360 version, that 360 copy anymore. So in some cases, people will sell their originals in favor of whatever their favorite modern console is. Mine happens to be Nintendo Switch. I did not have nostalgia for Alien Isolation for the 360. I had that game because that's a very underrated game, arguably a hidden gem, which is probably why they've ported it over now. Because the game should have made 1 million more sales than it did when it first came out. And it's that good of a game. It's that good. So let's go through the list of what's coming out. I'm going to show you on the screen. Now, it's going to be tough to see. So here's a list of all 30 games. I'm only going to tell you the ones that I have selected as must-buy games and the honorable mentions. I took out Cosmic Fantasy Collection 2, as much as I would love to have that. But I do have Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. I do not have Sea Smash, that is a Dreamcast game. I honorable mentioned Cosmic Fantasy Collection. G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra is a must-buy. That is a blow-your-balls-off game, and I'm so happy that they're actually releasing it in physical, not some digital-only crap. Thank goodness for Limited Run for doing that. And I'm no fan of Limited Run games, the company, but they like to make money, and they know how to make money, and they do a good job of making money. So you got to give them credit for that, and they actually bring us games that nobody else perhaps would have ever brought us. So without them, many of these games, you wouldn't have a physical copy. So in that regard, they are doing everyone on this planet a service. Hitman, don't care. Jay and Silent Bob, must buy beat 'em up. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, yes, this is a must buy, and this is a great example of what Limited Run can do. And I'm not sure if they're using the Carbon engine for this game or not. They probably are, who knows. But the point being is there are 16 songs on the original game that they don't have the rights to. So they are redoing those soundtracks for this new version, which is going to mean that the old version will always have value, especially because Lollipop Chainsaw is known for having some of the best music ever. So the original is always going to be sought after because they are not the same game. And many will probably argue that the original is going to be best because of the music. But let's wait and see what the new sound, how good is the new soundtrack going to be? Because if the new soundtrack can beat the old soundtrack, which I don't think it will be able to, then Greg, man, yeah, the other ones, I really don't care for the 360 version at that point, or PS3 version. I've got a sealed copy that I might even consider selling, but I'm holding on to it for now. I bought it a long time ago. Got it real cheap, $30 Canadian dollars, brand new on Amazon. Ninja 5.0, that's like $500 Game Boy Advance game. I don't know what the current price is, but last I checked, I feel like it was like $500. So that's a must buy. Penny's Big Break, don't care. Rain World, honorable mention. Rugrats, must buy. Starship Troopers, I'm going to put as a no. Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster, must buy. Toxic Crusaders, blow your balls off, good game. Get your gun ready. Valis 4, Phantasm Soldier Collection number 3. It's got Super Valis on there, Valis, however you say it. That's the Super Nintendo version. I mean, that alone says you got to buy that one. Wolfenstein 2, honorable mention. It's the full game on the cart this time around. Bubsy, the Perfect Collection. They even got the PS1 Bubsy on there. They got some Game Boy Bubsy. They got all the Bubsies on there. Name a Bubsy game, it's on there. It's basically what they're doing. I don't know if they have the newer modern Bubsies, but they got all the old ones. They ported them over with the carbon engine. They ported them over. That's a must buy. We got Clock Tower, must buy. X Trilogy, must buy. Shantae Advance, must buy. Tomba Special Edition, must buy. Tomba 2, must buy. Double Shake, blow your balls off, good game. I'm wearing a diaper. Extra absorbent. I already went through 2 of them after I watched the trailer on that one. Yeah, that game. I mean, they went retro style. Whoever, I don't know who the publisher, the developer is, but they made it look like a PS1 game. And that's becoming a trend nowadays, and that sells. I mean, that's one of the best generations of all time. You don't need to make these new modern graphics. Give us those pixelated graphics. Give us the 16-bit graphics. Give us the 32-bit graphics. Give us the 64-bit graphics. You don't need this modern crap. Give us the old colors and art styles of the old retro games. Those were good games. They stand the test of time for a reason. And they look visually, they're very appealing to the eye. There's not too much going on in the background. That's a big problem with all the modern games nowadays. There's too much going on. I can't even tell who my character is. Simplify it, dumb it down, and it'll actually look better. Fear Effect. They could easily put Tomba 1 and 2 on the same cart. They're just milking the money. They're milking you dry. They're bankrupting you. Fighting Force Collection, must buy. Ghost, must buy. Holy hell, look that one up, buddy. That's an incredible game, and some people will tell you they hate it because apparently you got to play it at 10 p.m. every day, 10 p.m. You can only play at 10 p.m. is my understanding. I only briefly looked into it, but what a unique gem. And people are complaining, what if I got to be in bed by 9:30? Well, then don't buy the game. Like, they tried something new and unique. It's a must buy. It's so interesting. Like, the developer should have won a freaking Nobel Peace Prize for coming up with that idea. Renane, honorable mention. Assault Suit Lanos 2 Saturn Tribute. I was going to purchase that from Play Asia. I did not know that they were porting an fully English copy over, so I'm very happy that I did not buy the Japanese version. Gimmick 2, even though I hate Gimmick 1, I mean, I gotta buy it. And Snow Bros Wonderland, holy hell, guys. I mean, how do you not blow your balls off? How do you not do it? They're bringing back Snow Bros. They're bringing, and it's not the arcade version. That's not the arcade version of Snow Bros. This is like some new platformer, 3D platformer, Super Mario 64, 2-player co-op, Snow Brothers game. They're doing something with the franchise. So I did the math. Let's say I purchase all 26 games. That comes to 1,040. And we round up. So let's just say the average price per game with shipping and even taxes, maybe. And it's probably going to be even higher than this. I'm just saying, let's just take an average price and say that these are going to be $34.99 plus shipping plus tax. $40 a game, US dollars. Okay. The math comes out to $1,040. Convert that to Canadian dollars, which my brain understands more. That's $1,425. Round up, that's $1,500, and we haven't even scratched the surface. Because, like I said, they're going to be porting hundreds of these games over, especially Sega Saturn games. You're going to see every top dog Sega Saturn game ported over. I'm telling you right now. All of them. Albert Odyssey, Dragon Force. I wrote a couple down. Where did I write them down? Shining Force 3. Die Hard Arcade, if they can get the rights to that. That'll be a tough one, but if anybody can do it, they're going to be the ones that can do it. I don't even own a Sega Saturn console. And I bought Die Hard Arcade for the Sega Saturn. I bought this and Die Hard trilogy. Let me repeat that again. I do not own a Sega Saturn, and I bought this years ago. Probably 10 years ago, I bought this. And I'm very happy I did. Very happy. I would I would buy it again. If I didn't already own it, I'd buy it again. And you know what? If I was rich, I'd buy 2 or 3 or 4 or 10. If you've been watching my channel before, you know I've always had a dream of getting 10 copies of one game. I've come close a few times. I had 5 copies of Fire Striker Super Nintendo at one point. I had to sell them because I realized that I'm legally insane and I need that money for other games. Because, you know, if you spend all your money on 10 copies of a $100, $200 game, well, there's 9,000 other games that I still need. So I ended up selling 3 of the 5. I still have two copies left. And I have 5 copies of Spyborgs for the Nintendo Wii, which I would like to get 10 copies of on that one. So now imagine this. Imagine if Limited Run starts convincing Capcom to let them port some games over. You're going to get a Mega Man Legends collection, or hell, they'll milk you dry probably and do Mega Man Legends 1 and 2 separately. You have to pay for it twice. But you know what? Capcom's really good with doing collections, so maybe they'll be generous and give us Capcom Mega Man Legends Collection 1 and 2. Perfect PS1 ports. Hell, throw Mega Man 64 on there. Why not? Dino Crisis 1 and 2. King's Field 1 and 2. Breath of Fire 3 and 4. Hell, they might even release Little Samson because somebody's going to buy it. People will buy it. Just cause it's Little Samson. They might not make $1 million, but they'll make some money. They could port over anything. They just need whoever owns the rights to the game to agree to the port. Jumping Flash 1 and 2 collection. How about that? Army Men collection. Imagine that. Throw every single Army Men PS1 game on one cart, maybe or N64 if they get the Carbon engine doing N64. They're going to get GameCube games at some point. They've got NES, Super Nintendo, Dreamcast, endless possibilities. D2 for Dreamcast, bring that one over. Illbleed, bring that one over. Record of Lodos War, Dreamcast, bring that one over. Silver, Dreamcast, bring that one over. NFL 2K, bring that 2K1, 2. Bring them all over. Do a sports series. How many 2K games can you fit on a cart? Bring over all the NHL 2K games, all the NFL 2K games, separate carts. People buy it. I'll buy it. I don't care. Even though it's a sports game, it's cheap. There will be people that will still buy it because maybe they don't own a Dreamcast, for starters. Or 2, they want the convenience of playing it on a modern console like a Nintendo Switch. Or 3, you add in new features, interviews, add in new music. People want to see that stuff. People like me, I want to see the interviews. I like to know the history of the games. I'm very passionate about these games. Very passionate about retro gaming. Also, don't forget they can bring over Sonic Blast Man 1 and 2, Final Fight Collection. Like if and Capcom is unlikely to release the rights to some of these games because they'll just do it themselves. But if they don't have any plans to do it themselves, they might just say, okay, here, we'll give you Final Fight Collection. Go ahead, do it. We're not going to do it. Let's make $5 million together. Right? Here's Breath of Fire. Every single one ever made, throw them on a collection cart. And I will be bankrupt soon. I will be homeless soon. And I will be talking to a lawyer in the morning because I'm not putting up with this. Limited Run Games is trying to screw me over. They're trying to make me homeless. I'm going to be living in the McDonald's dumpster. You're going to be living there too. What do you think your wife is going to say? What do you think your kids are going to say? When you let them know that you've sold the house to purchase Nintendo Switch games from Limited Run Games built with the Carbon engine. What do you think they're going to say when you tell everyone you're all moving into the McDonald's dumpster? Because at least that way you might get some scraps of some French fries and maybe some burger crumbs, right? And then what are they going to say when you go to the dumpster, you show up at the dumpster, and I'm there waiting for you. And we're going to fight over who gets to live in that dumpster. What do you think they're going to say then? I got a pair of nunchucks that I keep in my trunk and a pair of brass knuckles that I keep under my car seat. I'm ready to scrap at any time. Anytime, buddy. You gonna road rage on me, buddy? And I pull out a pair of nunchucks and brass knuckles? You're gonna think twice. I guarantee that. Oh yeah. You are gonna think twice. You're gonna turn around. You're gonna wish you had a diaper on, and you're gonna leave.